Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Varanta Santi Namani Namaste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Shunya Bhari Pashta Kadeshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Okay, so yeah, there's a link's been put in the chat by Mother Gayatri, if that's of any use, Mother Mongol Prabhu. In the meantime, with yeah. So I have a question. I'm going to test you now. Which book are we reading?
Oh dear.
Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
First book.
Well done. Brilliant. You passed the test. We're reading Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Hare Krishna. And yesterday we began reading through this verse. I think we read 6. We read this one, 6 and 7, and then we dived into these verses from 8 to 12. So 5 verses. Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Speaking about the knowledge required to be transcendental and to be transcendental to the field and everything that comes with it. Yeah, how we can develop Krishna consciousness despite being entangled in this very complicated material world. So different items of knowledge are required. And we started to read through them. And interestingly, the first two, amanvitvam, adamvitvam, humility and pridelessness, yeah, which is, as we concluded yesterday, this is the symptom of someone who is in knowledge. Yeah. It's a symptom of someone who is somewhat advanced. Yeah, as they realize, or we realize, we are insignificant in comparison to Krishna and the material universe. So humility and pridelessness. Then we gave an example of Ramaharshana Sutta, who was professing to be knowledgeable, but was actually very proud. And Lord Balaram didn't take very kindly to that. That was seen as hypocrisy. So he took quite a strong stance there. He killed Ramaharshana Sutta during the recital of the Puranas. So that's quite an exciting Srimad Bhagavatam class. Don't know if we could say like that. What was the class like? Well, it's far out. Balaram came and killed the speaker. Okay, anyway, but jokes aside, then we spoke on. We got as far as this green line here. So I just highlighted some important points that we read yesterday. Prabhupada in the purple, he highlights devotional service, pure devotional service, bhakti avyapacharini, as the means and method for developing all these qualities. Yeah. The most important aspect of all this list is unalloyed devotion to Krishna. Yeah. And then he follows that up with the importance of the spiritual master, from which instructions on unalloyed devotion to Krishna come. Yeah, so he says it's most important. It's the beginning of spiritual life. Yeah. Guru Pad Ashraya. And then humility, we just spoke about that. Not being anxious to be honored by others, to be prepared to be dishonored. And then interestingly, Mother Sudhamani Radhika gave an interesting scenario that happened at Bhaktivedanta, where it kind of highlighted some important points. Basically, there was a seminar was taken, for those who weren't here yesterday, there's a seminar that was happening and someone came 20 minutes late. And the speaker, I think it was, put that person on the spot and chastised them in front of everyone, as far as I could understand. And this person became very much upset and at being so dishonored. And from what I could understand, it caused a bit of a scene, as you can imagine. Yeah. So what did we highlight there? What was the lesson that we learned from that? Anyone can remember that, who was here yesterday? What did we conclude? Who was in the right? Who was in the wrong?
I think we concluded that whoever was giving the class or the meeting should have been a little more tolerant and sensitive to the other people around.
Yeah.
And
And
maybe
the other side?
the lady in question who was offended by it should have been also tolerant and thought, well, you know, this is Krishna's mercy today, and I've got to take it in the best possible way.
Yeah, that's it. Of course, easier said than done, but we should want to try and do like that. So in other words, it's just a commentary on the three modes of material nature. Yeah, the modes of ignorance and passion. This is what leads to a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of hurt and a lot of disappointment. It's being influenced by the modes. But if we're in a mode of goodness, we have a chance of lessening the anxieties in this world. Okay, but still they're going to come. Yeah, so that was interesting. She brought that out, and
in our case, like Bhakti Chamal gets really heavy. If he's given the time that he's coming at 2 o'clock, we should all be there before he comes there. Or to me, if somebody's giving a class and you want to go to class, you should be there as a respect also.
yeah,
Should be
also
Yes,
for
I mean
sure.
that's what I was thinking as well. That it wasn't just a normal class. It was even like some kind of mentorship class.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay, yes. So that was a it's mentorship class where everyone.
and also I was thinking, like, if someone comes in feeling they're entitled to be late, you know, if they have that attitude, like they just waltz in and sit down, they don't come in humbly, like, sorry, I'm late, and make an apology. But if you just waltz in and sit down, like you're, like, I'm here, and like without showing a bit of respect to the speaker and the other
Without
people
apologizing,
late.
without offering
even
apology.
not so
Okay,
much apology.
so it seems like the context of that situation was like a more of a mentorship where everyone should show responsibility to be there on time and take but also in regards to different circumstances, the spiritual master has quite a right to chastise his disciples. You know, he has more of a right perhaps than someone leading a seminar or such. That's the role the spiritual master plays. So yeah, it becomes of us to be on time when the spiritual master is speaking. Otherwise, it could be an offense. It could mean, as Lavangalataka said, if we took this into this context of the guru giving a discourse and the person doesn't care about coming late, then it could be a sign. It could be a sign of guru avagya, offense to the spiritual master. All right. So anyway, without getting totally not lost, but getting distracted by that whole thing. Then we naturally spoke about tolerance, and we have to tolerate in this world. You've got no choice. You either tolerate or you go mad. Okay, it's the nature of this world. You ever tolerate? I've mentioned it many times. Yudhisthira Maharaj said you should, if it wasn't for tolerance, the world would be ruined, would be destroyed in a day or 2 days. So we have to learn to be tolerant, okay? That was mentioned. And then we're going to begin here today. Simplicity. And we're going to perhaps read a couple of paragraphs because it's quite a lengthy purple. And we might spend the next month on this purple, which is not so bad, but we do want to make some progress as well. So everyone's with us so far. I pressed all the right buttons. We're recording and we set the prayers to Prabhupada, and let's continue. So if someone like to pick it up here from where it's highlighted in green. And again, comments, questions, you're always welcome. Please, devotees, as we go. Yeah.
I
Sorry,
can,
which text is that, please? You're
It's
reading from?
highlighted in the green.
Yeah, but number which one in the book? Is it 6?
8 to 12,
Lovely. Okay, thank you.
chapter 13.
Okay.
I can read simplicity.
Okay, whoever reads first gets to go.
Okay, simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. As for acceptance of a spiritual master, that is essential, because without the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot progress in spiritual science. One should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him all services, so that he will be pleased to bestow his blessings upon the disciple. Because a bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, if he bestows any blessings upon his disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulatory principles. Or the regulatory principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation.
Okay, I can't resist but give a little comment on this.
Mm.
If there's any immediate questions on this. Just to be clear, this sentence here, it's mentioned elsewhere. It's mentioned in Nectar of Devotion as well, in regards to spontaneous devotional service. But here, Prabhupada mentions it again. That will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles. Okay. So perhaps I'll ask a question. Can someone explain that? What does that mean? What does that look like? That means one's got the blessings of the guru, one doesn't have to follow the regulative principles. It may be misread like that. I've put you on the spot now.
Would it mean that he bestows, you get the understanding, that is the advancement, is the understanding what's right and what's wrong in Krishna consciousness? Like, so although you may not be following, you immediately, you get the mercy is that you understand that you should be following. I don't know.
All right, that's one. Okay, we could that's one possibility. So Mavalavangalataka is saying that, if I got you right, that's saying that by the mercy of the guru, even if one is not properly situated, then one can get blessings to move forward in spiritual life. Is that right? More or less what you're saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a little more, but it sounds
Okay.
better that way. Yeah.
Anybody else? What?
I was thinking simplicity means this devotee has got those qualities, humble, tolerant. He's so simple. He doesn't,
Yeah.
he's already got quite a lot of qualities, They maybe not progressed a lot, but he's got them. So just by those qualities, he's going to advance. Because spiritual master sees within. They can see through you.
Okay. So when we take initiation, we take vows to follow the regulative principles. So you're saying it's okay not to follow them. We can still please the guru. Will you please the guru if you're not following the regulative principles after you promised him?
No. The guru
I'm
is,
kind of digging around a bit. Go on.
no, guru is confident that this person is going to follow the.
Oh, is going to, but would he initiate him or her if they're present? He's not following regulative principles.
I don't think he would.
No, he wouldn't.
No.
It's only when one is, confident that, and before one commits to the spiritual master, there should be some time where one's shown oneself to be able to follow the regulative principles. Of course, things happen at a future date sometimes, yeah, due to the due to various factors. But at least at the time of initiation, the guru should be confident and the disciple should be confident that I'm willing to follow the four regular principles. So again, my channel, you're saying that the guru, okay, even if one is not following regular principles, one can get the mercy of the guru. This is what this is saying. Anybody else? Testing you a bit here. Mother Gayatri?
No, not possible.
Not possible? What's not possible?
Not
Difficult.
Time
Okay. Yeah, your voice is coming in and out. Okay, it's not
no.
possible.
That's the basic of the following.
Nitai
it's not-
Matas, yes. Oh, that's Nitai Matas. Internet connection. We're going to make a collection and get her special internet connection.
No point in selling the house.
Selling a house.
Yeah.
Going to live in a tent. Okay, so all right, so for at least from my and what, yeah, it's not going to Nitai Mata on the. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, so you might want to type it in the chat. Okay. It's a shame because I'm sure what you're going to say is of great value. So it's a shame, but what can be done? But here it should be understood that the disciple is following the regulative principles. Okay, that should be understood. That's what it means.
Maybe you hear me, but oh no.
No, we can't hear you properly.
Not possible.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put it in the chat.
Okay.
It's too difficult. You're coming in, then it goes silent, then so put it in the chat for now. So it should be understood that, like, that the disciple will be following the regulative principles, chanting the holy name, etc. Yeah, we know what the regular principles are. Okay, but now let me see here. But by the blessings of the guru, even though one's doing the routine of their devotional activities, by the blessings of the guru, and now let me backtrack. So by following the regulative principles with all sincerity, one's going to make advancement in spiritual life. Yeah, because you're following the orders of the guru. But if your character and your disposition and your devotional service and attitude is very pleasing to the guru, you make advancement way beyond what you may be qualified by your own individual effort. Yeah, by his blessings. Okay, you're following the regular principles. By his blessings, you can make boundaries. You can make great advancement by pleasing the guru, by his blessings. And that advancement is not based on your following the regulative principles. That has, in one sense, that has what has kind of touched the guru's heart is you have pleased him over and above than the regular principles. Did that make sense? So therefore, yeah, that's at least from what I can understand. This is what Prabhupada is indicating here. Because the bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, if he bestows any blessings upon the disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles. It doesn't mean the disciple doesn't follow the regulative principles. It means them blessings are coming from the guru directly, and he can make great advancement. Is that a bit more clearer? And that's why Prabhupada says here, or the regulative principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation. So one will be endowed with a certain level of steadiness in their devotional practice if they've pleased the guru. Anyway, that's my kind of philosophical bit of a speculation on that. Any comments on that? Okay. Silence means it's okay, I think. Unless everyone's so shocked by what I said. No, it's okay. Thumbs up, it sounds okay. I've got a thumb up. Hare Krishna. All right. Let's try and read on. Okay, you can read the next paragraph as well, Mother.
Okay.
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness is essential for making advancement in spiritual life. There are two kinds of cleanliness, external and internal. External cleanliness means taking a bath, but for internal cleanliness, one has to think of Krishna. Always and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This process cleans the accumulated dust of past karma from the mind.
Okay, perhaps you read the next paragraph as well. We can make a bit of progress through this purport, and then we'll comment after that.
Steadiness means that one should be very determined to make progress in spiritual life. Without such determination, one cannot make tangible progress. And self-control means that one should not accept anything which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. One should become accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress. This is real renunciation. The senses are so strong that they are always anxious to have sense gratification. One should not cater to these demands, which are not necessary. The senses should only be gratified to keep the body fit so that one can discharge his duty in advancing in spiritual life. The most important and uncontrollable sense is the tongue. If one can control the tongue, then there is every possibility of controlling the other senses. The function of the tongue is to taste and to vibrate. Therefore, by systematic regulation, the tongue should always be engaged in tasting the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna. As far as the eyes are concerned, they should not be allowed to see anything but the beautiful form of Krishna. That will control the eyes. Similarly, the ears should be engaged in hearing about Krishna and the nose in smelling the flowers offered to Krishna. This is the process of devotional service, and it is understood here that Bhagavad Gita is simply expounding the science of devotional service. Devotional service is the main and sole objective. Unintelligent commentators on the Bhagavad Gita try to divert the mind of the reader to other subjects, but there is no other subject in Bhagavad Gita than devotional service.
Okay, so thank you. So any immediate questions or comments here? Cleanliness and steadiness. As you know, we when we teach Pujari courses and seminars, of course, we focus on this cleanliness and punctuality. I'll just take note of Prabhupada's statement here in the purport. Cleanliness is essential for making spiritual advancement, and not just internal cleanliness. Of course, that might be the obvious one, which we understand. By chanting the holy name, we have to cleanse the mirror of the heart. But Prabhupada is saying both are essential for making spiritual advancement. So you may be very attentively chanting, but if you haven't washed your plates for the last 2 months, or you haven't washed your clothes for 3 years, or you haven't, then it may be you're not pleasing Krishna. So we shouldn't we shouldn't we shouldn't forget that. I have an issue with there's one devotee. I mean he's a friend of mine. He's a younger devotee, but I have issues with his bead bag because it's black. It was white at one time, but now it's black. It's so dirty that I often think it's gonna crawl away. It's gonna jump up and crawl away. To look at it, it's just like, yikes. So we could say perhaps this devotee, with all due respect, he may not be really understanding the seriousness of this quote from Prabhupada. Cleanliness is essential for making it so. So how can we advance in spiritual life? Well, you clean your bead bag. That might be something practical we can do. You clean your room, you clean your bead bag, you clean your room, you clean your drawers, you clean the floor, you clean your heart. You clean both. You clean your heart and you clean your space. Yeah. And each one, if you clean your space, it will help you to have a clean heart. And if you clean your heart, it helps you to want a clean space. So they both, work together. It doesn't look, if one is professing to be really pure, and perhaps they might say is someone, professing to be thinking oneself is really pure and advanced in heart, but they haven't washed for a month or 2 months, then we don't really, just like one time, I might have told this story before, I was doing book distribution door to door, and I came to one door, and I could see by the door itself, and the handle of the door was carried in black, and the curtains inside, there was a window, and it were kind of black as well. And I thought, oh dear. Anyway, I knocked on the door, and this man answered the door, and you could smell him before he even answered the door. And when he opened the door, this great smell of him, stale sweat. He was, he was obese, stale sweat, and he's, I mean, you get the picture. Just a wave of this stench came over me, and I almost felt like heaving. What can I do? I mean, I don't want to knock on the door and call for his attention. So then he started, he was a philosopher. And he started to speak to me about philosophy. And did I listen to what he was saying? No. There's this saying that I can't, what was it? This saying that I can't hear what you're saying because of who you are. I can't hear what you're saying because of how you live and how you conduct yourself. I just cannot hear what, you're speaking high-fluting philosophy. I mean, I didn't say to him directly that. I mean, I forget what I said to him actually, but I tried to disengage myself from him as quickly as possible. And I wasn't in the least bit interested in what he had to say as far as the meaning of life. It was quite obvious he didn't know the meaning of life. Anyway, speaking a bit strongly there, but all right. Any questions or comments on that?
Just the saying, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Yeah.
It's a nice one to remember.
Yeah, Prabhupada said that a few times as well. He said, one time he said, cleanliness is godliness.
Godliness, yeah.
It is. It's not just next to it.
It is godliness.
It is godliness. So we should keep that in mind in our own personal environment and our own space, and keep things clean and nice. Just the same as we want a clean heart, we should want a clean bathroom. Then we can please Krishna by cleaning both external and internal. All right. So a bit of a Pujari seminar coming out here.
Yeah, because I feel when you're cooking for Krishna, we should cook in such a way that everything's nice and clean. So then
clean as you go. Prabhupada wanted devotees to do that. Must admit, I struggle with that, but I try my best to do it. Because I'm a bit out of practice in the timings of cooking, but I try to do that. Sometimes I'm not precisely on the dot with that, but I try my best to. Yeah, clean as you go. All right, so any questions then about this steadiness? I guess this is called, what's it called in Sanskrit? We should know, right? Begins with N.
Nishta.
Nishta, yeah. Now, so we have to learn to control the senses and learn to control the self. How long do you think we're going to have to keep on endeavoring and making an effort to control the self from our lower nature?
Until you you reach, even you pass bhava, you have to do it.
Yeah, until the day you die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Even after bhava.
Yeah, there's one verse, I can't picture it now, but the commentary on that is that, yeah, so so it's always going to be with us. It doesn't matter if you're practicing Krishna consciousness 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you're still going to have the senses. Now, there is a stage, as we've been reading and studying, where one is oblivious to one's conditioned nature. So that will be a stage where one is free of the pushings, so to speak. So we have to admit that. But it's gonna. But we just always take shelter of Krishna. We always want to, whatever the mind and the senses are demanding, we should be practiced to always turn their head and look towards Krishna. Yeah. So that's called spiritual life. Yeah. Spiritual life means you're taking up practically war against your otherwise conditioned senses and the material world. So it's something that we do as a daily practice. Yeah. Like each time I go shopping, then I walk past the all the chocolate bars I used to eat before I joined. Oh wow, I remember that. Yorkie bars, Galaxies, Mars bars. And it's a test this is after 30 years, I have to walk past all those chocolate bars. I mean, some devotees are into chocolate. That's something. I mean, that's another. And this is a general point here. Yeah. I don't think chocolate is completely, it's not the biggest sin you could commit in your spiritual life. Some of you might eat chocolate. But you get the general point is that, it's always it may always be there a challenge, especially for young men or young men, when they ever see an attractive woman, then it can be it can be a distraction. But the more we become absorbed in Krishna consciousness, the more intelligence becomes purified, then we can move about with some confidence. Yeah. All right. And then Prabhupada makes some he asks us to come to quite a high level here. He says, for instance, here, you can see me high, as far as the eyes are concerned, they should not allow to see anything but the beautiful form of Krishna. Okay? Is that possible?
Yes, you move into the temple with some glasses on.
All right. Is it possible for everyone to move in the temple? Or is it practical?
I was thinking that if you change it, if he's something, say a beautiful girl or something, that's coming from Krishna. This is coming from Krishna.
You could, as we learn in the 10th chapter, isn't it?
Yeah.
The moon, water, rasam rasroham apsakuntaya papashmisashuraya. There are different ways where we can Krishnaize our vision. So we can always be in remembrance of Krishna. So that's a good point, and that's taken.
Yeah, or I think Krishna is in the heart of everybody.
Yeah.
So, you can see, oh, Krishna is there in this person.
Krishna's even in the heart of the person who stole our bike.
Your bike got stolen?
No, it didn't, but I have had my bike stolen before.
Oh, yeah.
I had trouble envisioning Krishna in our heart. I was envisioning a shotgun.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Initially, our conditioner will come in. Oh, why did somebody pinch my bike? What am I going to do? How am I going to get to the temple tomorrow? Okay, and then after a few minutes, it turns around and you think, okay, Krishna, there must be a reason why this is happening. Everything. Is there to begin with.
Yeah, so we link the situations that we're in, not just the things, the moon, the water, but the situations we have to face. We try and see Krishna's hand in it. But I also tend to think here, Prabhupada's speaking out of a sense of ecstatic love. You know, he's saying, yeah, someone, you should only see Krishna. He's so beautiful. Don't let your eyes see anything else. You know, he's speaking out of kind of a poetic exaggeration of affection and love with Krishna. He's so beautiful. He's so beautiful that your eyes, you shouldn't see anything else. I think Prabhupada's, I get this mood, Prabhupada here, you know, he's making this statement. Because Prabhupada, of course, everything you saw is Krishna. So, sorry, Mother Lavanga, you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the early disciples, when he heard something like this, he got a harmonica stand, you know, and he put a picture of Krishna, I think Radha and Krishna, in front of his face. So he was walking around just seeing a picture of Radha and Krishna.
Yes.
Which is
try
like
that at home if you want.
a bit extreme.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah.
I had a funny, not fun, I don't know how to explain, but we went to Radha Parisheshwar yesterday and just Radha there, like just taking darshan, I could feel Prabhupada, I could see Prabhupada. I'm looking at Radharani, and there how Prabhupada had brought her, because she's completely different to all the normal ISKCON Radhas, you know?
Yeah, kind of the brother and sister of Londonishvara as well, because their name is Parisheshvara.
Yeah, but she's completely different. It's white marble, no, it's really like grayish, like kind of marble. Her eyes are different. She's just so beautiful that I could just see, like, I could feel Prabhupada. You know, I don't know. I just don't understand that feeling, you know, but.
Sure, yeah, they're installed by Prabhupada, so they're have an important role in our ISKCON society.
Yeah.
You know what Prabhupada said about Parisheshvara? He said about Krishna. Krishna's come to Paris to get some beautiful women.
And there is something to add, Prabhu.
Sorry?
There is something he said. Radharani appeared just like a French girl.
Yeah, he appeared just like a French girl, and Krishna's come to get some French girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually, she's the only, I felt also, she's the only Srimati Radharani in this world not having that, it's not being telling, there's no Indian, like, different, very different. She's really a Parish girl.
She really, and the color is different.
Exactly.
The eyes are down.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice you visited. I'm sure they appreciated it. Devotees to come. Yeah, I've been there a few times. Okay, so let's any other further comments on this, or we can edge on a little bit. Yeah, he mentions Marge, the verse that describes Marge and Barish. Yeah, the eye should see just Krishna. The ears should only hear about Krishna. The nose should only smell flowers offered to Krishna. Savaimana Krishna Pada Vindayo. All the senses engaged in Krishna's service. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's read. Someone like to read the next two paragraphs? False ego and the distress of accepting birth and death.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes, you can. Thank you so much.
Okay. False ego means accepting this body as oneself. When one understands that he's not his body and his spirit soul, he comes to his real ego. Ego is there. False ego is condemned, but not real ego. In the Vedic literature, Brihant Aranyakya Upanishad, it is said, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am spirit. This I am, the sense of self, also exists in the liberated stages of self-realization. This sense of I am is ego, but when the sense of I am is applied to this false body, it is it's false ego. When the sense of self is applied to reality, that is real ego. There are some philosophers who say we should give up our ego, but we cannot give up our ego because ego means identity. We ought, of course, to give up the false identification with the body. One should try to understand the distress of accepting birth, death, old age, and disease. Their description in various Vedic literatures of birth. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the world of the unborn, the child's stay in the womb of the mother, its suffering, etc., are all very graphically described. It should be thoroughly understood that birth is distressful. Because we forget how many distress we have suffered within the womb of the mother, we do not make any solution to the repetition of birth and death. Similarly, at the time of death, there are kinds of sufferings, and they are also mentioned in the authoritative scriptures. They should be discussed. And as far as disease and old age are concerned, everyone gets practical experience. No one wants to be diseased, and no one wants to become old, but there's no avoiding these. Unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distresses of birth, death, old age, and disease, there's no impetus for our making advancement in spiritual life.
Okay. Okay, so just a comment on that last sentence, and then if there's questions and comments, please feel welcome to ask. But sometimes you hear we should directly and indirectly practice Krishna consciousness. There's that verse in the Chatusloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam. One should indirectly and directly search out the absolute truth. So directly means Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, hearing and chanting about Krishna, and indirectly means understanding the precarious situation we are in, like what's described here. We are entangled in this very, from the absolute perspective, we are in a very difficult situation, being in the material. So that's indirect. So we understand that Prabhupada said, without, he says there at the end, let me just move this thing out of my way. Yeah. Unless we have a pessimistic view of material life, considering the distresses of birth, death, old age, and disease, there's no impetus for making advancement in spiritual life. So that's indirect. And that's why there's so much graphic description in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's one film, I've mentioned it before, and it came to mind, which really illustrates the soul's difficult journey within the womb. It's really graphic, but I couldn't find it because I'm not at base. So perhaps next week we can show it. Yeah, I can try and find it. It's a film by the Bhaktivedanta Institute. Okay. But any questions or comments on false ego? Yeah, false concept of the self. Yeah, which is difficult to shake off. Yeah. What's a real ego? The question. That's a question.
Servant of the Lord.
Yeah, quite simple. And for some, it's too simple. But that's the real sense of self. Right. And then Prabhupada highlights philosophers. Hare Krishna Puji, welcome to Gerald. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us. Hare Krishna. So, yeah, Prabhupada here, he highlights some philosophers will deny any sense of ego. We've discussed this many times. So for them, any sense of identity is illusion. So we don't agree with that. We say we should not identify with the body, but we do have an identity. Could I say, thank God for that. We have an identity, and that identity is not what we think we are. The identity we have at the moment, it's very temporary. So our ultimate identity is in regards to our relationship with Krishna. All these other
designations.
All parties that we have, although we need them to function in the world. Like if you're a wife, then you have to consider yourself a wife. Otherwise, your marriage might get difficult. Okay, you're a husband, you have to see yourself a husband. Get the idea? Otherwise, we have to, but at least we understand. When we're not bewildered, thinking this is our eternal identity. All right. And then, if you read more about, I'm being repeated back. Is it about?
Unfortunately.
Oh, sorry.
So, if you want to read more about the horrors of birth and the journey of the soul, anyone know where in the Srimad Bhagavatam you can find that, where it's elaborately described? The whole journey of the soul. That's what this.
Canto 3 or 4, or maybe none of them.
What did you say, Mother Mongo? Say again.
3 or 4. 3 or 4 or
yeah.
3. Yeah?
Canto 3, teachings of Lord Kapila.
Yeah.
The adverse effects of fruitive activities. And he I think our chapters there and about. It follows the journey of the jiva being injected into the womb and etc. And it creates quite a realistic, not such a romantic picture about birth in this material world. Yeah. All right. So So in one sense, it may conjure up a picture that devotees are, miserable, pessimistic, bad, everything's bad, but it's not exactly like that. Devotees are joyful, should be. We should be joyful because we're engaged in Krishna's loving devotional service. But at the same time, we have like two eyes, We should not be unaware of the dangerous place we are in and the consequences of, well, we're going to have to take birth again in a womb, that's for sure. But we hope it's in the gopi's womb and next birth. Yeah. And not a womb of a materialistic person. Yeah. So we should, so it can give us impetus to make advancement in spiritual life. Yeah. Anyway, any questions on this? This is a common theme that you'll find in Bhagavatam. Yeah, we should discuss about suffering. Prabhupada says these should be discussed. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone sick at the moment?
I'm sick of life.
Yeah, he's sick. That's good. He's sick of material life.
Material life, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a bit of a sickness at the moment. I mean, it's nothing serious, but this is what having this body is all about. It's not always going to be healthy. Well, eventually you got old age itself, which is gonna, that's a horror story. And we've got it all to come. But hopefully we can be Krishna conscious. This is the idea. Can have some sense of detachment from it all and be more observe it rather than feel the pains of suffering from it,
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada said very clearly, do the best. We have a bad bargain, but you do your best.
Yeah, make the best use of a bad bargain. Yeah. All right. So this is an item of knowledge for us to advance in a spiritual life. It's Krishna is describing this to be aware. And what's the time? The next one often brings up some discussion. What should we do? Should we read that or should we pause here? Chandravali, you're in charge.
Still 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Okay, let's read it. That's a sign.
Can I read a little bit too, please?
Sorry?
Can I read a little bit too?
Yeah, go ahead, Mother Mongo.
From there, as far as the eyes are concerned, yeah?
As far as detachment from children.
As far as the eyes are concerned, they should not be allowed to
as far
see.
as detachment,
Not that.
we're here. We're here.
Well,
We're highlighted
where?
in gray.
I see. As far as for detachment for children, wife and home, it is not meant that one should have no feelings for this. They are naturally objects of affection, but when they are not favorable to spiritual progress, then one should not be attached to them. The best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. If one is full Krishna conscious, he can make his home very happy, because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One need only to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Accept the reminiscences of foodstuff, offer to Krishna, have some discussion on book like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage oneself in deity worship. These four things will make one happy. One should train the members of his family in this way. The family members can sit down morning and evening and chant the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Hare.
If one wants his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness, following these four principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life. But if it's not congenial, not favorable for spiritual advancement, then family life should be abandoned. One must sacrifice everything to realize or serve Krishna, just as Arjuna did. Arjuna did not want to kill his family members, but when he understood that these family members are impediments to
his Krishna realization, he accepted.
I don't see the page. He didn't.
Yeah, it's just
Krishna realization, accepted the instruction of Krishna and fought and killed them. He says one should detach from the happiness and the stress of family life, because in this world one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. Happiness and distress are
they can just pause there.
Of material life.
You just pause there. Pause it. We don't have time. So yeah, I mean that's a statement in itself. One can never be truly happy or fully miserable. All right, but perhaps we'll comment on that tomorrow. But any immediate questions here? Quite intense. Arjuna, Prabhupada chooses to use Arjuna as an example of someone who abandoned family life to the extent that he killed him. He was definitely quite an example, but that has the particular context. Okay. But any questions here? I mean, sorry, I keep speaking.
How could we deal with people or family members more a bit further than family members, a bit like let's say sisters or fathers or mothers, grandparents, when they say, oh, you are selfish, you're thinking only about yourself and you go to the temple, or you're thinking only for you, and they don't see it actually you are trying to save yourself and save others too by doing that.
There's instructions in the Bhagavatam where in the 7th canto, actually, after the Prahlad Maharaj, then there's instructions to civilized human beings, and there's different instructions given for those different orders of life, the grihastas, brahmacharis, vanaprastha, and sannyasis. There's interesting instructions for the grihasta that, okay, so you're practicing spiritual life and your in-laws or your relatives or whatever, or your immediate family members may say, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. And you should say, yes, you're right, I should. But then you don't do it. You should just kind of, yeah, you're right. I need to spend more time with the family. Yeah, you're right. Then you can.
Or how would you deal with the family members which they cook for you, but you can't eat their food? Nicely, politely, you will tell them. How would you? I know we get back to the subject, but yeah, I would like my wife to hear it.
Well, that you're going to have to decide for yourself according to the very varied circumstances that may take place. Basically, without getting too much into it, you should have your bottom line foundations, which you don't cross over. You don't eat meat, you don't eat fish, you don't eat eggs, etc. Don't care what they say. You don't go there. Even if they throw you out the house. I'm not, you know. Okay, but then there's the other side. You know, if you go there and they cook a meal, at least they understand you're vegetarian. So then, as we discussed before, then it might freak them out if you refuse to eat anything that they cook. That might freak them out. At least you tell them it might freak them out if you get a bell and start ringing a bell with a picture on the table. Ding, 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 ding. So you got to use your intelligence. You may have to offer it within your mind, you know, making up within your mind.
So then it's okay to eat at your parents-in-law.
It depends. You have to decide for yourself. You have to
So
decide.
you can always say you developed a new allergy.
Yeah,
They don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, you may have to, if it really is, if they're not, again, it's the circumstances. It may be best for you to give all types of polite excuses where you're not in a situation where you have to sit down at a table together to take a meal. So you're going to have to arrange, but sometimes it may not be possible. Okay. But I wanted to get back here. This is not so commonly done. So devotees who are married and have children, it's easier said than done, apparently. I don't think every devotee who has children and is living outside as a grihasta, they gather together every morning to chant Hare Krishna, and they gather together every evening to chant Hare Krishna. Apparently I hear that it's not often done. Any does that happen with everyone? Mother Gayatri.
Evening, we are
No chance. It's not
no
possible.
chance. There's no time. You got 3 kids running everywhere. Okay, kids, sit down. No, I'm here. But it's what Prabhupada says. If you can manage to do this, but it should be amazing how many can't do that. Mother Gayatri just said it's difficult, isn't it?
You bet.
You bet.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
the family in Leicester, Janani, she does it. She got 5 kids, I think. She does that.
So there you go. So you get some examples. If you set it as a culture in your family, then the children will definitely, I mean, I'm not saying no one does it. I'm just saying it's easier for some. It's easier said than it's done. But this is what Prabhupada explained. This is the instructions Prabhupada's given. So it's good if a family, except there are examples, those who do exactly this. Sometimes it's difficult. The wife has an argument with the husband and they're not in the mood for sitting down at the same. It's quite complicated. But we want to try to do this, that will pacify everything. Okay. All right, we could perhaps say a few more things, but I've got to go to visit a neighbor here, so I have to sign off. Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope some of these points that were brought out were interesting. We're still on this one purple. So next Tuesday, we'll just carry on and we'll come to the end at some point. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving us the opportunity to hear and chant about Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare